Well, hello, Star Shines. It's Ermi Kay from Bright Star and Cosmic Weather coming to you right before the powerful eclipse opens up. It's going to be on the early wee hours of Friday, and it's going to be tomorrow evening for Pacific time. So I thought I would do one of these just to kind of go do something different, and didn't really have it in me to write up a big report. And I thought I would just say hi. I'm not going live because social media is a little bit chaotic this week. It's a little much. So I thought I would just sit here in my living room and talk to y'all a little bit. So thank you so much for tuning in. So this week we lost a couple of good ones. We lost Dolly Parton and Tim Curry. They have returned to the mothership. So good journeys to both of them. Of course, Dolly, amazing songwriter, performer, philanthropist, actor, the list goes on. She's one of my personal heroes because I call her the Capricorn Queen. I'm also a Capricorn. And she has a lot of Virgo, and I have a Virgo stellium. So there was a lot that I could relate to with her. I did bring some messages through from her. I'm going to be sharing that at my Substack. So please keep an eye out for the Dolly Parton tribute post at Substack, and you can find that for free. ermik.substack.com will take you right to my blog at Substack if you'd like to check that out. Okay. And also raising a toast to Mr. Curry, actor, performer extraordinaire, and all of the wonderful roles he gave us. I'm sure he's pleased to be out of that body that had been giving him trouble ever since his stroke in 2012. So blessings to both of them. We were so lucky to have them, right? We were lucky to have them. So I'm gonna I'm gonna raise a glass of something good to them this weekend. I wanted to get this out here, like I said, because I'm going to go quiet on the actual eclipse because this full moon is conjunct my Saturn. So there's a lot going on with this for me personally. And I wanted to be very quiet and receptive and just sit in that energy. So, speaking of that, this is a lot. I know that I've been hearing from a lot of people, some people are struggling. Now we're throwing in a layer of grief on top of this. But you know what? I think it's really interesting when you have a thing that's kind of a unifier. I was hearing stories of people like hugging strangers in supermarkets and doctors' offices yesterday upon the news of Dolly. And I thought, that's so her. That's so perfect for her, right? This is something that's unifying people in a time where there's so much division. I know it sounds corny, but that's it. I mean, I think that she was a very much carried angelic energy, and through her incredible philanthropy. I mean, 200 million books were given for free. That's astounding. I mean, just kudos for that, for literacy alone. So that's why she's my Capricorn queen, and she's, I think, worthy of admiration, right? But I thought, when people are united in that moment and their hearts are open, they're not all up in the politics, and they're not all up in the division and the fear and the that's out there. They're into something else. They're into another dimension. It's a little softer and it's a little sweeter. So on that note, carry that through the weekend. Carry that kind of energy through the eclipse, because that's what Pisces in its highest octave is all about. It's about service, it's about the high heart, it's love, compassion, unity, all that beautiful stuff. So let's talk a little bit about what we're letting go of and what's in the shadow of both Virgo and Pisces, right? Because we've got a Virgo sun and its opposite sign, which is Pisces. That's where the moon is. So we have this push pull opposition. So what's coming up with that is service to the point of suffering, codependency, doormat behaviors, all that kind of stuff. You guys, that are familiar with me, with my teachings, have probably heard me say, the image for codependency is like the person walking behind somebody, like with the dustpan. And I actually did base that on a real life scenario. It wasn't me with the dustpan, but I've done that. So I'm not judging that. But it was me watching some people do that behavior. And it was kind of a semi famous person. And it was like, whoa, you can see why people get all locked up, lost into that. That's another thing about Pisces is delusion. And now that we've got Neptune out of Pisces and it's in Aries, along with Saturn. So that's a very different energy. But speaking of that, we just came out of that, and we were in Neptune in Saturn and Pisces for several years. I believe it was 2.5 years at least, for Saturn anyway. So that kind of those themes are coming up again. In case you're wondering, like, oh God, another layer of the onion with the stuff, like really? And it's like, well, pay attention. Like Annie Pema said, nothing goes away until it's taught us what we need to know. So instead of being judgy and irritable about it, go, oh, there's that thing, because I had a thing. Still working with it. Oh, there's that thing. Instead of making myself wrong, making other people wrong, I'm going to just sit with this. And what is this really saying? In the immortal words of Lama Yeshe, what is really happening here? People have heard me say that a lot too. Very simple question can bring some extremely deep answers, right? So if we can just take a step back, if something is triggering us or something's blowing up in the environment, and go, what's really happening here, and sit with that, that can prove to be very enlightening and very interesting. So this is very much a moon of the Buddhas and of the angels and of the ascended masters, because that's the high octave of Pisces. So the challenge for us is to stay out of the lower level stuff. The world's going to be delusional like it always is. I saw some real doozies this week. I'm starting to believe there's a lot more bots out there than we even know, because some of the stuff you're like, real people aren't saying this, because it's just so inflammatory and insane. I mean, some of them probably are, we know, and being realistic. But on the other hand, there's just so much junk out there. So use your discernment. That's another thing that's an aspect of both Pisces and Virgo in their high octave is clear discernment, right? What's coming? It's like, what is it? Test every spirit, right? We're going to test this stuff, whatever's coming through, and whether that be literal, or metaphorical or literal. But I think test every spirit is a good little motto to take through this. Why do I say that? The portal's open. It's really powerful. Now it's open even wider. Two very big, bright stars have gone back to the mothership. What does that mean? Whenever there's somebody that leaves form, according to the Tibetans who know a little bit about this stuff, there is a psychic space, a portal that's open. And it's usually it's most open 3 to 7 days. And I do have some experience with this. If you guys know me, I've done a lot of death doula work. I've experienced a lot of personal deaths in my life. I have Hecate and Scorpio in the 12th house. For anybody following along on the home game, that's what's going on with that. I have some pretty interesting asteroids that I had to grow into. I'll just say that. It was pretty confusing when I was younger. But now that I'm this age, I'm like, oh, get it. I'm just grateful I'm still here, that I'm able to operate with these energies at a higher understanding of them. So, yeah, we're just all so blessed to be here now, right? And even with the challenges and even with the stuff, um, Dolly told me something, and she referred to Corinthians, and I'm not a big Bible person, but of course I know First Corinthians 13, the passage about love, but especially the one line, love never fails. So put that in your cap as you travel through this portal, and know that whatever stuff is coming up, whether it's scary, whether it's disturbances, whether it's physical stuff, that it's temporary, it's temporal, it is passing through. Okay, because that's one thing mutable signs understand is changeability. Excuse me. This is not fixed energy. This is highly flexible type of energy. So that being said, move through this, eyes open, heart open. The effects of eclipses can be felt for weeks and months. Looking at this, I personally feel that we're going to be feeling the effects of this all the way to the next eclipse, which is in Aquarius, which is in February of 27. And the reason I say that is because the bookends, right, because they travel in two, the opening bookend was in Leo, right? All that big mama, all those planets in Leo, right? Big drama came up around that. So that opened it up, and the opposite energy, of course, is Aquarius. So I feel like this is the logical ending of this particular energetic pattern is going to be at the next eclipse in February. I mean, and it could land anytime in between now and then. But I mean, that's really when I think the logical conclusion of that will be. And then when we get into February, we get into Chinese New Year, get out of this nutty fire horse energy. And of course, I'll be doing a 27 forecast with hopefully with my special guest who hasn't been on in a while because we've both had life stuff happening. So blessings to my dear friend Shannon Murray of Lunar Ladies, and hopefully she'll be a guest. A couple of items of business. Another thing to tell you, we've got high geomagnetic activity. Wow, that's a tongue twister. If you have physical pain that's coming up, please stay hydrated, get plenty of rest. Of course, if this is something that's persistent, see your care provider. But that being said, this can be quite temporary when we're moving through a portal of this size and nature. Because let's talk a minute about eclipses. Eclipses are a still point, right? It's a really quiet inward energy. So it's taking that really deeply spiritual Pisces energy and it's bringing it in, right? It's bringing it very third eye and inward. So I would recommend meditate near a body of water if you can do that. Even if you get in your own bathtub, if you could go to a walk around a lake, that's what I'm planning on doing sometime this weekend. That's going to be very nourishing and very healing. Okay, so just pay attention to the body, ground in nature. Of course, if something's problematic, we're going to pay attention to that. This is a really good time and weekend for people that do healing work, especially grid workers, to see that little grid out behind me, to send that light out to the planet. Just really just send it out. Send it out from your heart or your third eye or your crown or however you do it, because this is really a golden opportunity for us. Okay, what else to tell you? New Pisces full moon meditation. I have recorded, I'm going to record 12 of them. This is the first one. You know me, I just open up the space and kind of let it rip and see what guides and light beings show up. So I've already heard that people are enjoying that. You can purchase that at irmak.com. I'm also going to put the link for that here when I publish this at YouTube. And these are going to be for a nominal price. They're all going to be under $10. And this is something that you can download and listen to anytime. So this one, even though it travels with an eclipse, of course, any full moon in Pisces, I've set it up that you could listen to this so you could hold it for future reference. And I'm going to go through all of the full moons and record some meditations. People do like my guided meditations, and I appreciate hearing that. So, what else? Lots of love to you, Starshines. Thanks for tuning in. You can find me at all of my usual places, and I hope to see you soon. Be safe through this portal. Be very mindful on the road. That's another thing. Eclipses are ungrounding. So, allow a little extra time if you do need to travel by car or however you're traveling this weekend. So, namaste. Love y'all.